How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Gym Range podcast. This is episode 14. I'm Carl Heiser, joined by my co-host Alex Cervantes. We are presented by Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure to go check out the site, vendettasportsmedia.com. Another busy week of college basketball this week. I think the first thing I want to talk about is that it seems like Purdue is just allergic to any sustained success. Immediately lost as the number one overall team. They're the third number one team to lose in as many weeks, right?
Yeah. Well, here, let me interject something real quick. Baylor will be the new number one. They play Oregon on Saturday.
I don't think they're going to lose that game.
I was just saying, hey, listen. It would be the third consecutive week that we see the newly promoted number one team fall to an unranked and inferior team.
All right. Well, I guess we'll put that one on the calendar, but
10:30 tip.
Yeah, so yeah. Purdue takes an L to why am I blanking on who they lost to? Oh my god.
Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah, Ron Harper Jr. with maybe the game of the year. Dropped 30 points, like 10 rebounds. And
hit the dream shot we all practice in our driveways. Yeah. The Euro step into
a like, third court buzzer beater.
That was so cool.
At home, court storming, everything you want.
Absolutely.
But today we're going to get into our most disappointing teams of the season. At this point, it's far enough into the year that we can be disappointed. We can be disappointed about what certain programs have done. And so the way this is going to work, it's going to be kind of similar to the way that we did our preseason rankings. We're just going to count down from 5. We're each going to give our top 5 with an honorable mention.
Yes.
And because I know Alex is passionate about whoever his honorable mention is, so I'm excited to hear. So that's how this is going to work. Alex, who's your honorable mention most disappointing team this season?
It's Villanova. And it's Villanova, and they're an honorable mention because all three losses, they're kind of justifiable. Like you lost to the then number 2 UCLA. That was a phenomenal game, 83-76, whatever it was, right? Then you lost to Purdue, who was at one point obviously the number 1 team in the country, and then you lost now to Baylor. And listen, that Baylor game was never really close. Baylor completely just took out Villanova from their offense. It was an absolutely just Scott Drew outcoached Jay Wright. His players outplayed Villanova. Like it was just one of those. So it's less of a disappointment and more of, to me, it's a sheer like, what have they done to earn a top 10 ranking still? Like they're 1-3 against top 25 opponents. That one win is coming against a Tennessee team that has and hasn't looked impressive in equal parts. Like if you saw that game against Texas Tech, which I don't know why I sat through it, you would have been throwing up.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Listen, and we've talked about it, right? Like Villanova is a great starting 5. They're experienced, versatile, well-rounded, and we've talked about it on here. I don't think they're deep enough when they play these exceptional teams. They're not deep enough. They don't have a go-to guy off the bench who can give them 15 if needed be, right? And so they've handled business. And so I guess my biggest criticism kind of speaks to the winning culture and the success Villanova's had in recent years. So it's just, I expected them to at least win one of those 3 games. And maybe that's a knock. Maybe that's an unfair knock, but that's my honorable mention.
Yeah, it's Villanova is an interesting case because I do question what they've done to earn that top 10 ranking. It seems like it's just based on them playing these top 5 teams close, but they're not beating any of them. That's the thing. No. The only team they beat was a pretty mid Tennessee squad. And I mean, they just scored 36 points against Baylor and lost by 21. So I also don't really see, like, I get why people are high on them entering the year, but so far it just hasn't been what we expected.
And they've definitely been helped by their losses are, if it's ever a thing, which I kind of disagree with, but they are great losses, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, they're
And
aging.
so they'll age well. And so the thing's going to be is that there's so much fluctuation in the top 25 this year. So many teams are just winning and losing games at a clip that I don't remember seeing. Like, it's just so sporadic.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 of the top 14 teams in the country lost this week
Mhm.
or last week.
Yeah.
So Villanova's going to be helped by that. I won't be shocked if the AP voters keep them at like 9 or 10. I won't be shocked. I think they should fall to 15, probably.
Yeah.
But
I agree
again,
with you.
they're a contender. I mean, they're still probably going to win the Big East. It's either them or UConn. We'll see.
Well, I do think that's definitely more in question now, based on how the rest of the Big East is
No, it's
played.
in question.
I've been surprised with the rest of the Big East so far.
I don't want. We can circle back to this. I don't want to get off topic, but
Okay.
circle back to is Big East the best Power 6 conference this time? Right now.
Oh,
We can circle back to that.
okay. Yeah, we'll circle back to it. My honorable mention, because I got to do it. It's Maryland.
You don't have them in your top 5?
No, they're not in my top 5. I think there are teams that are more disappointing. Based
Okay.
on what, like, if it was just based on like what I thought, I think they would probably crack the top 5. But there were people who were like the heat check guys were like, we don't think Maryland should be a top 25 team to enter the year. And it looks like they were right. But I'm very excited by the fact that the Terps just beat a top 20 Florida team at a neutral site. That's exciting. Guard play was great, super efficient. But overall this year, it's just not, it hasn't been good. We haven't had good offensive game plans. We've lost to teams that we shouldn't have lost to. And you kind of get to, with the coaching change, you kind of get to wipe the slate clean a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the losses obviously don't go away, but
Mhm.
I think Danny Manning being the coach now allows for a little bit of a grace period as far as evaluation goes. And the first win of the Danny Manning era, however long that ends up being, was a good one.
4 months.
Yeah. So, yeah, but they're my honorable mention.
Okay. That's
Because
fair.
I do see realistically the issues that people had with them entering the year. And so far they've, those people have been right about what the problems are. So, but feed Hakeem Hart. That's my final take on it.
It's been your take.
It's been my take. I mean, dude's one of the most efficient players on the team.
Just do it.
Anyway, you're number 5.
Number 5,
Yeah.
the Virginia Tech Hokies.
Okay.
So you and I were both exceptionally high on the Hokies. We were appalled that they were not ranked coming into the season by the AP. Maybe AP was right because their losses just confuse me. Like I look at this team and I'm just confused. I really don't know how else to put it. They played Memphis close, which we can get into Memphis later. But they played Memphis close. I think it was one of the heat check guys on Twitter was just like flabbergasted now looking back that Virginia Tech lost that game. It's kind of shocking me to a certain extent. They lost to Wake Forest by 19, which I remember like sending you a message about because I did not expect to see that result.
Yeah.
I think few people did. And listen, Wake's ahead of schedule with Steve Forbes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like Storm Murphy has not really shown up. He's averaging 7.3 points, 2.3 assists a game. And statistically, like you just look at it, they're holding opponents to 56.7 points a game and 24.3 shooting from beyond the arc. And yet they're 7-4. And like they lost to Wake Forest. That was their ACC loss. They lost to Dayton, which we've talked about. Like Dayton beat Kansas. Dayton also lost at home to UMass Lowell. Like you got to balance some of it in some respects. So, I mean, the Xavier loss isn't bad. I don't think. I mean, you lost by 1 point to a team that'll compete in the Big East. So, I mean, that won't be too bad. The Memphis loss could come back to bite them. Wake Forest, I mean, they're looking like it's just I'm just kind of confused, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping, except for the one time they go to Durham, that Virginia Tech can turn this around a little bit, so I don't look crazy.
Yeah.
But they're my number 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fair one. My number 5 is the Kentucky Wildcats.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
very ready. I'm ready to start a very toxic Kentucky narrative, because
We'll get some followers.
Probably, but okay, they're 7-2, right? Which is fine. 7-2 is a good, respectable record. They've lost to Duke, and they just lost to Notre Dame, which are the only two high major teams that they've played.
Yes.
Everybody else that they've played is mid to bad. Actually, probably all bad.
They're all below 200 in KenPom, correct?
What?
I thought they were all below 200 in KenPom.
They're all, yeah, or at least below like 180 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's Robert Morris, Mount St. Mary's, Ohio, Albany, North Florida, Central Michigan, and Southern. It's like they haven't played anybody. So it's like, why are they like their top 10 ranking was solely based on the fact that they played Duke close and then Duke beat Gonzaga. So it's like, okay, we have to rank Kentucky pretty high.
And Kentucky was also ranked at 10 to start the season.
And they haven't moved. Well, they moved after
the loss, and then they climbed back up after a couple
13.
of other teams lost.
Yeah. And then they climbed to 9. Yeah. So they've been around 9-10 the whole year. But it's like,
yeah. Will they still be ranked? That's my question.
There's an argument that they shouldn't be because they have not done anything against. I mean, we'll find out a lot more when they play Ohio State.
Yep.
About what they are, and I'm curious to see where their respective rankings are when that game starts. So we'll find that out later today. But
Ohio State's got to climb.
Ohio State is going to climb, and Kentucky
really climb.
Kentucky has to drop like a lot because
I've got a dilemma. I don't know. I hate both schools. I don't know who to cheer for. Like, do I cheer for Duke's loss to look better, or do I cheer for their win against Kentucky to look better? Like, I don't know which one to.
I think in that case, you just cheer for Duke's loss or Duke's win to look better.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
because Duke can't really lose games in this ACC.
Yeah.
Like those anyway.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that one on Kentucky.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I guess just looking at the box score, when I had texted you, Kentucky was shooting 5% from 3. They finished the game shooting 10% from 3.
Yeah, they made one more
with Kellen Grady. It was just Kellen Grady who went 2 for 7. Everybody else, like Mintz, went 0 for 5. It was just a disaster all around. Thibs played well, 25 and 7
on 11 to 14.
Yeah, so that's a good game from him, but overall, just they're a deeper team supposedly than Notre Dame. They played 10 guys. Notre Dame played 7. Notre Dame is like very hit or miss. Like if they're hitting shots, they can beat you.
Literally, definition of it.
Yeah, very, very hit or miss. But that's not good. Like that's a team they should beat pretty easily. I believe. Okay, yeah, the spread was like 5 points, but still, that's a team that they should beat. All right, who's your number 4?
Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, first things first, I picked them to win the Big Ten, so I'm a little hurt about that. Again, it kind of falls back to like Villanova. The losses to Seton Hall, Arizona, and UNC are respectable.
Mm-hmm.
In multiple regards. Like Seton Hall, they just beat Texas. Arizona is really playing like a top 7-5 team in the country right now. Like, but they were clobbered against Arizona and UNC.
Yeah.
Just clobbered. They lost those 2 games by, I believe, 40 points combined. Hunter Dickinson was 6 for 15 from the floor because I looked that up, and he had 15 points in both games, across the 2 games. They were 1 of 14 from distance against Arizona and 5 of 16 against Carolina. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not a recipe for success. It goes without saying. You can't shoot, 20% over those 2 games? So they've won the games we expected them to. But again, I wouldn't have put them on this list if they didn't lose to Minnesota. They lost to Minnesota, who we pegged as the worst team in the Big Ten
Yeah.
by a margin. And Minnesota is 8-1, and they look better than we thought they would.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. But Michigan has looked disappointing. They have some stuff to figure out. But I do have them at 4 just because I did have them ranked that high. I feel like I kind of have to still justify it. They have enough talent on the roster to figure it out. It's just whether or not they can put it together, which I know is like a generic statement, but it's a reality.
Yeah. That's a fair one. My number 4, you've already mentioned them, is Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Because we were both very high on them to enter the year, and they have not done anything. And in a year where the ACC has not looked that impressive, they had a chance to kind of rise above and be the team that we expected. Even if they weren't as good as we expected, they could at least look like one of the best teams in the ACC, and they don't.
No.
Losses to they lost to one team that we're definitely both going to be talking about, I think, at some point. Yeah. They lost to Xavier by 1, which isn't bad. And then like that Wake Forest loss looks bad. That Dayton loss looks really bad. Keve Aluma's production is down from last year. Not good. Can't happen. Storm Murphy is not. I expected him to be awesome. He has not been that awesome so far. So they played St. Bonaventure on Friday, and then Duke, and then Carolina. So that's a really, really fun 3-game stretch for them, where, they could lose all those games. We could be sitting here after like the next 2 weeks, and Virginia Tech could be 7-7
in our fraud basket.
And in our fraud basket too.
Yeah,
man.
They could also be 10-4, and I'll be crying.
Yeah. If you had to predict, what is their record after St. Bonaventure, Duke, Carolina?
8-6, and I don't know which one they win.
I would agree with you. I think they go 8-6.
I don't. They go 1-2 in the stretch. I don't know which one they win, though.
That they beat St. Bonaventure, if I had to pick one.
See, I think they beat either Duke or. Well, isn't Lofton out though for Bonaventure? Am I crazy? No.
No, I think you're right.
Oh, well then maybe they go 2-1.
Oh.
Anyway, so
you really think they're going to step it up against one of the? ACC?
Yes, start of ACC play, absolutely.
Okay. Are you looking up Lofton's injury?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, it's just I still think that we've both had the take that Virginia Tech could win the ACC tournament. Obviously, that could still happen. Like we saw Georgia Tech do it, and Georgia Tech was mid at best. So I think Virginia Tech still has the pieces to make a run, but from what we've seen so far, we need Aluma, we need Murphy to step up for that to look a little more realistic.
Did he play against UConn? Hold on, I'm gonna find out. He did not play against UConn, so I would assume he's out.
Okay.
So yeah, they could go 2-1.
Which would really, I think that would be huge for them if they went 2-1 over that.
It is.
That'd be big.
Yeah, I think they win one of Duke UNC.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be a fun little stretch of games for them. All right, who's number 3 for you?
Florida State, keeping it in an ACC.
Okay, they were almost an honorable mention for me.
Okay, well, I clearly am a little bit more pessimistic about them. Yeah. But when I made my list of 12 teams that have kind of disappointed me, whether that is just looking on paper or from the eye test, the Seminoles are riding a 3-game losing streak and sit 5-4. And the consensus was kind of that Florida State would be a top 3 ACC team, would battle Duke and UNC for the crown. They were my 3rd best team in the ACC. I believe I had them 19th in the country in the preseason poll that we did. It's just not looking like it. They've lost their wins. Their wins are Penn, the Ivy League, Tulane, Loyola Marymount, Missouri, and Boston. And BU is their most impressive win because the Terriers are looking like they could contend for a Patriot League title just on record alone.
Yeah.
But obviously, this is not where Leonard Hamilton wanted the Noles. They lost, they gave up a lead against Florida and then lost by 16. It's tough. And especially when the ACC is in a down year, a win against Missouri, which I believe is 270 in the net rankings from the NCAA, is not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Like if that's your Power 6 win, it's not it. And you already lost in ACC play to Syracuse by 3. You dropped to South Carolina. You got smacked by Purdue by 28.
Which isn't.
Yeah. So you've got a 3-game stretch now. You got Lipscomb, UCF, and North Florida according to their schedule. You should win all those games. If you don't, I will be actually tossing a crumpled up picture of a Florida State logo into a trash can on our next episode.
Okay.
Bookmark me for that if that happens. But they don't play Duke till January 18th. They have time to fix it around, but you're gonna need that Duke win. You need that Duke win, like objectively. Like every team in the ACC needs that Duke win, which isn't gonna look good for Duke, but
yeah.
And maybe that's a stupid statement because every year in the ACC you're looking for that Duke or Carolina win, but you need it now if you want to make the tournament.
Do you think with these ACC teams that we're talking about do you think that when it comes time for the committee to sit down and pick teams for the tournament, do you think the reputation of the ACC will save them a little bit?
Yes.
Because based on how they're playing right now, they should not be. I don't think they should receive nearly as many bids as we would have projected to start the year.
I think we projected like 8. I think they should get 4 as of right now. They'll get 6.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and Syracuse will be in 11.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Like I don't care how Syracuse fares in the regular season. Syracuse will be in 11. Jim Boeheim will somehow magically get them into the tournament with a 19-12 record. Like it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even like a 17-14 record. Like they're gonna find their way in.
Because it'll happen.
I mean, they're just a heat-seeking missile for that play-in 11 seed. That's what Syracuse is.
They are.
Yeah. All right. My number 3 team.
The ACC will get 6 bids.
6 bids? Okay. My number 3 team, we mentioned them sort of, is Memphis. Memphis is horrible. They're horrible. There's really no other way to put it. They are a bad basketball team. You can chalk that up to any number of things. You can chalk it up to chemistry. You can chalk it up to coaching, but they suck. They cannot win against anybody. They turn the ball over like 20 times a game. They can't shoot free throws. Chemistry issues in the locker room. They're on a 3-game losing streak? 4-game losing streak. It's like the list is endless with this team. And I wrote a preview that this is a team that, based on just the talent on their roster, could be like, probably a top 5 team in the country just based on like talent level on paper.
Yeah.
And they're terrible. Like, there's no beating around the bush with this. Like, and I think people had concerns about, whether Penny Hardaway could really coach. He has never made the NCAA tournament. And so because of that, I think people were like, well, maybe this, even though he has all these guys, like maybe it just doesn't work out. But I did not expect them to be this horrible. They've lost to who started the losing streak? Iowa State, who that is a loss that might age okay, but it's still not great when you're the number 9 team in the country. Lost to Georgia when Georgia didn't have their best player, and Georgia's bad. Lost to Ole Miss.
I would say by 10 points, and they scored 47 points.
Yeah, it's just.
And Murray State.
Yeah. Yeah, Murray State. They lost to Murray State at home.
Yep.
And then they get Alabama, Tennessee. Like, this team might not make the tournament at the rate things are going. They're going to lose, I think, both of these games against Alabama. Alabama, I think, could win by 25. And then I think they lose to Tennessee. So then they're sitting at 5-6. And then they'll probably win the last 2 games in December. So they'll be 7-6 entering January. And they still have to play Houston. They still have to play Cincinnati. They still have to play Wichita State. They still have to play SMU. Like, things.
They got to play Houston twice.
They got to play. Yeah, they have to play Houston twice. One of those on the last day of the season. Which, like, if they take a bad loss to Houston at home to end the season, that's going to leave a very bad taste in people's mouths entering any sort of tournament. Maybe they could be the back-to-back NIT champions.
Agree more.
I'm so disappointed by what Memphis is. Like, even the guys that I think we were high on for them, like Bates has not looked great. Duran, I'm like starting to get a little suspicious of what his ceiling is as far as like NBA drafts prospects go. So overall, really just a disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, who is your number 2?
It's Memphis,
Yeah.
and I think we could just you said it. I was going to say the same thing. They've looked bad. I don't know if they can turn it around. I don't think Penny Hardaway going to the Athletic in an expose-esque kind of thing midseason was the look. We're not even midseason. Like, I don't know if that was the look.
Like, was he trying
they keep
to
complaining
motivate
about
them?
what?
Was he trying to motivate them? Like, I don't get it either.
This is me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't. My hands are up. I don't know. Yes. I'm just gonna say yes. I couldn't. Like, Amoni Bates is shooting 38, 31, 71. Not ideal.
Nope.
And listen, he's 17 years old. And he's got the frame less than that of Chet Holmgren. So it doesn't bode well. But
plus he's got another year before he's draft eligible anyway.
So I'm not really worried about Bates yet. But Memphis I am worried about.
Yeah.
So who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Michigan, actually. I think
okay, cool.
They were what? Your number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. With me, it comes down to they were a lot of people's number 2 team to enter the season, number 2 in the country. And now they've lost to Seton Hall. They lost to Arizona, who's like actually really good. So that's not the worst. They lost to North Carolina, and they just lost to Minnesota by 10 at home. I don't really, the thing is too, like, they confuse me because I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't. It could be that maybe it's like, I just don't get it. Like, Hunter Dickinson maybe just isn't being as dominant as he should be. I'm just very confused about what the problem is. I mean, he's averaging 15 and 9, which is respectable, but
it's not what we expected out of a candidate to start the year.
Yeah, I mean, he's leading them. Caleb Houston has kind of turned things around as far as shooting goes. He's now shooting 37% from 3.
It's good.
Which is good, but he's shooting under 40% from the field, which is
not it.
I just don't like, they're averaging like 72 points a game, which isn't bad by any stretch. It might
just respectable.
It just might be that they're getting like a little unlucky against some good teams. Maybe just some things don't fall their way, but as a number 2 team in the country to enter the year, you have to be better than what you are now. Like, you have to be better than 6 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's obviously that's ignoring like the, schedule quality, which has generally been
Mhm.
pretty good for them. But you have to be better than 6-4. Like they're already 1-1 in the conference, and conference play really hasn't started yet. And we'll. I mean, Juwan Howard. They won the Big Ten last year. So we'll see. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned about Michigan because I think part of why I'm concerned too is that I can't pinpoint what the problem is. And I think it's easier to fix when you can pinpoint what the problem is. With Michigan, I can't do that. I don't know what's going on.
And listen, they've got time to figure it out. They don't play. However, in a 3-game stretch at the start of January, they have Michigan State, Purdue, and then Illinois.
Yeah.
So
that's. I mean, that could be their season right there. Like
could be.
All right. Okay. This has brought us to where I'm pretty sure we have the same.
I have an inkling we have the same team.
Okay. Do you want to just say it at the same time?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
1. The Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go in on Oregon because
Go in on Oregon.
They need to get shredded.
Listen, I wrote a paragraph. I'm just going to read the paragraph.
Okay.
You ready? The Ducks are 5-5, 0-2 in Pac-12 play, and it doesn't seem that they're getting any better. Listen, I had this team ranked 15th in our preseason poll. Here's the thing, right? I just haven't looked the part. Simple as that, right? And so they got smacked by BYU. And what, quite frankly, when I saw that, I was like, I mean, that isn't good, but I kind of thought you have a bad shooting night, you go cold, BYU just kind of steamrolls you, right? No. I was wrong. I was so wrong. They've lost to Stanford and Arizona State, respectively, to start conference play by a combined 5 points on 2 basically last-second shots. Neither of those aforementioned teams are expected to make the big dance, so not great. They only have 2 double-digit scorers in Will Richardson and Eric Williams, and they have the 95th adjusted defense in KenPom, with their best win being SMU. So it's looking bleak. That's my spiel on Oregon.
Yeah. And even Will Richardson, who is their top scorer, is averaging 11 points a game.
Yeah.
Which is not great. Yeah, this is
nope.
I'm just sad. Like I'm sad that Oregon is this bad. I picked them to win the Pac-12. And here they are 5-5 with losses to 2 bottom tier teams in the conference.
Well, they're a bottom tier team now. Like I don't
now the tables have turned. They're a bottom tier team.
How the turntables?
Their best win is SMU.
Yeah.
Everyone else, like Houston beat them as bad as they beat Chaminade. For reference. So like and in these games, like we talked about this last week, like I mentioned this. In these games against good teams, they're not even cracking 50 points. And it's not even like BYU's defense is that great. I mean,
BYU has not looked really amazing since the win.
Yeah, and that like the buzzer beater loss to Stanford is just so deflating. Like it was you could kind of see based on how the game was going that like, all right, this is going to come down to the wire, and it would just be like, of course Oregon would lose. Of course they would. And then they did. And I can only give Dana Altman so much of the benefit of the doubt. Now, I think your take that UCLA is going to run away with the Pac-12 is looking really good.
Yeah. Well, wait, did you ask if UCLA is going to run away?
I think they will at this point.
UCLA? I don't know. I feel Arizona.
You think it's Arizona now? I think that's
no. I don't know. I think UCLA, Arizona, and I don't think this show has given enough respect to USC.
I'm not ready to give respect to USC.
I'm down to give respect to USC.
Okay.
Maybe not just like here's the Pac-12 respect, but respect that hey, you're undefeated and Mobley's playing amazing. That's decent. They're still undefeated. There's so many teams that have lost.
No, you're right. They're climbing. Like they're going to keep climbing. They'll probably be top like 12 after this week.
Potentially.
Yeah. Um, and I don't know when their first loss comes either, based on how they're playing. I mean, they play Arizona on January 2nd.
Loss.
That's probably a loss. But yeah, Arizona has looked really good. Let's swing back around to the Big East.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Big East has surprised me. They've looked good. Georgetown just beat Syracuse. DePaul is like not bad. There's a lot to like with the Big East. UConn is good.
Yep.
It's not just like Villanova and a bunch of like nobodies. It's Villanova and some pretty good teams. Like
I'm ready to see an underrated game this weekend is Providence UConn. Providence is 10-1.
are they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see that's even surprising to me. Like these teams are just kind of coming out of nowhere. Seton Hall ranked 10-1, 9-1. They get to play Iona on Saturday. That'll be fun.
Providence beat Wisconsin too.
Yeah, I mean Xavier just destroyed Cincinnati by 20.
Yep.
Creighton big win against BYU by
The
double
Big
digits.
East will be fun.
We were low on the Big East, but they're good.
Instant
They're very, very good.
notification bell from every tweet John Fanta sends for the rest of the year.
Here's a fun fact. You know who has the second worst record in the Big East?
I mean, well, considering I looked at the ESPN earlier, it's Villanova.
Yeah, it's Villanova. Villanova has
My
the
honorable
second worst
mention.
record in the Big East. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's like, obviously they've played like better opponents than
Tied for second worst. Butler is
Everybody
7-3
else.
as well.
they've played better opponents than everybody else.
100%.
But it's still like it's surprising to see at the same time.
Also, props. I just want to say this. Props to Jay Wright for going to Waco. I don't know how many coaches would actually do that.
Yeah, that's ballsy. And honestly, hats off to Baylor because I'm ready to admit that I was wrong about Baylor.
Yeah, you were super low.
Was I? I don't remember.
You
where
had
I
him at
put
like 15. I feel like that's
Okay.
low.
Because I honestly thought that losing 4 starters would be like devastating for them.
Listen, I did not. I think I had them at 8. So I kind of felt that. I did not think that. Shoot, why am I blanking on that? Especially after Love got hurt. Especially after Langston Love got hurt. I did not think that. So is it So Chan or So Chan? The freshman.
I don't know.
I don't want to butcher his name. But Jeremy Sochan, number 1 for Baylor, has looked really good in his role.
Mm-hmm.
Brown is what we kind of expected him to be, but he's been really good.
It's
and they've got
it's really just
like
been
if you
plug
just
and play. Like
yeah, if you just glance at their stats, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 guys that all average over 20 minutes a game, and Flo Tamba averages 18.
Mm-hmm. They're deep.
Yeah,
they're deep, and we had said this. We said this in a previous episode that they are a potential back-to-back team.
Yeah,
we did say this, and it looks like that's definitely the case. The way that they're playing right now, like destroying Villanova and only letting them score 36 points, like, I think you got to put them in the conversation. You have to.
they probably should have been in the conversation last week, but yes.
Yeah. So yeah, hats off to Baylor. But anyway, all that to say, the Big East has looked good.
You wanna quickly rank the Power 6 conferences?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Off of what we've seen, not projecting.
Right. Yeah. That's the hard thing. From what we've seen,
I have no problem. This is just me. I have no problem putting the Big East one.
Okay. I think I'll put them at like 2.
Okay, who do you have at 1?
The SEC.
Okay, so here's what I was gonna do like a 1A, 1B, and I was gonna go Big East, Big 12.
Okay.
Because Big 12, Kansas has 1 loss, Baylor undefeated, Iowa State has looked much better. Texas is kind of underwhelmed. Oklahoma, Jordan Goldwire, Porter Moser, Boomer Sooner, baby.
Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.
They look like a tournament team.
They do.
I don't know that I would have said that when the season started, but they look like a
No.
tournament team.
But I'd go, I mean, almost right now, based on form, like I have no problem if anyone switches, like in terms of like if they're ranking the Power Six, if they just have some combination of Big East, Big 12, and SEC. Because those are the top 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think Big 10 has to be 4.
Yes.
And then you know what? ACC, Pac-12 combined maybe 7 bids. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I just maybe 8. 3 from the Pac-12, 5 from the ACC.
Well, the top of the Pac-12 is like better than the top of the ACC.
Yeah.
So the ACC.
Okay,
might be
ACC
whack.
6.
The ACC might be 6.
That's pain. That is so
Yikes.
painful. Pain.
Wow.
Just rip my heart out.
That's yeah. I mean, the top 3 of the Pac-12 have 1 loss combined. Combined 27-1 this season.
I don't even want to look at what the ACC is at. I will.
Yeah, you have to. You have to look.
I'm going to count Duke as obviously the top of the ACC, even though they haven't played an ACC game yet.
Well, I'm just going based on overall record.
Okay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Then 7-1, 9-1, and 7-2. That's Duke, UNC, and Wake Forest.
Okay. Yeah.
How about them Demon Deacons?
How about them Demon Deacons, baby? Also, Miami's 8-3. That's
Absolutely.
Cool. That's cool.
Isaiah Wong, 15.5.
Not even their leading scorer, though.
No, Cameron McGusty.
17
hooping.
Points a game.
Cameron McGusty is hooping.
He's balling out. He's also their leading rebounder.
It's also good splits. 48, 32, and 83.
Did we pick the wrong guard to make all conference for?
We might have.
We might have.
We might have. Also, Wendell Moore, HTC Player of the Year? Question mark.
You really think they'd give it to him over Palo?
I mean, no, but
yeah.
I mean, statistically, Wendell's been more impressive.
We'll do our own awards at the end of the year.
I don't know how. I don't think you understand how long I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
It's finally arrived. He's arrived. My friends know. I was not like mentally stable the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm. I've started looking just a little bit at doing some preliminary stuff for this upcoming NBA draft. And I'm starting to be higher on him. Just like the more I see. Like I've said this to you. I think his ceiling is higher than Trevor Keel's.
Fantastic.
We'll have to do next week. We'll do this. Next week we'll do our most surprising teams in a good way.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Every team I projected in the bottom of the ACC.
The entire Big East.
The entire Big East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I mean, I'm just looking forward to how the AP voters decide to do things this week, because Duke will be 2. It'll be Baylor, Duke, UCLA. How far does this drop Purdue is really the question. And also Villanova is going to drop. So Gonzaga will be 4.
Duke only dropped 2 spots. So, but the Ohio State loss is much better than Rutgers
Yeah.
because Rutgers then got beaten pretty handily by Seton Hall.
Mhm.
So I'd go Purdue probably drops to 5. I mean, Texas lost. Texas will drop. Alabama could climb into the top 5 because of a Villanova and Texas loss. You think they could leapfrog Kansas? Still a big fan of Kansas, by the way, as much as that pains me to say.
I think with the Texas win, Seton Hall should climb into the top. What?
15
15? Yeah, like
at least.
that's what it's looking like.
Well, Purdue lost, but Purdue won't drop out of the 15. Villanova lost. They could drop out of the 15. So could Texas. Kansas stays. Bama stays.
Arkansas,
Kentucky should drop out of the 15. Tennessee should drop out of the 15. I wouldn't mind seeing Tennessee go just because of that Texas Tech game.
that was such a disgusting game to watch.
UConn lost too. UConn lost to West Virginia. So that's actually 8 of the top 15.
Okay. Yeah. So
that could really, it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. A lot of movement.
North Carolina probably should be ranked again.
Auburn to the top 15. Yeah. Carolina could jump back in. Rank
Colorado State.
Rank Colorado State.
They have to be. They have to be. They have
to be. AP voters. Rank them.
They have to be.
Ridiculous.
They have to be, right?
Yes. They have to be. They just picked up a good win.
Listen, they should have already been ranked. But I'm saying after what happened last week, it's got to happen.
I just don't understand like what the holdup is. Like they're coming off back-to-back wins against St. Mary's and Mississippi State. They've looked really good. They beat Creighton this year. They're undefeated. They destroyed Oral Roberts, who people liked at the beginning of the year. Yeah, rank them. Give them their respect. They're going to play Alabama, though, in 2 weeks. That'll be really fun.
I will be watching that.
Lots of threes going up.
Fantastic.
Lots of threes.
Northwestern 7-2. What? Pete Nance. 7-2. Okay. First time since 2016-17. You know what happened that year? They made the tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, John Rothstein said that if Northwestern doesn't make the tournament, he's just buying beers for people in Chicago.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a win-win for Northwestern.
Yeah. That's a win-win. Yeah, Northwestern students cannot lose this year.
No, really can't, which is a first.
Yeah,
all right. Pete Nance, all Big Ten.
Hot take, but
that's not a hot take. Put that man on the team.
All right. Yeah, we'll see. Do we need to do fraud watch? I don't know. Nobody's really moved out of fraud watch.
I'll take Illinois out of fraud watch.
Okay. I might put Arkansas in fraud watch.
We had their support for a little bit.
I know, but you can't lose by 22 to Oklahoma and
that's fair.
Not have me put you in fraud watch.
Jeff Goodman was having a field day though.
That was the worst. He didn't have them in his top 25 power rankings. And then they lose. And he's like, see, I told you so. Even though I do think leaving them out was just a troll job.
It was, but he was right.
He was right. Yeah, so he was right. Who else? Florida?
Sure.
Wisconsin?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I assume our disappointing teams are in fraud watch. Or are they in the basket?
I'd put all of them except for Kentucky. Sure. All of them except Kentucky. Yeah, I'd put Oregon, Michigan, Memphis, Virginia Tech on fraud watch, and I'm not quite ready to put Kentucky in.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Florida State fraud watch?
Yes, fraud watch.
Yes.
Yep.
Sweet.
All right, good stuff. Thank you everybody for listening, for watching. If you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on Spotify so you never miss an episode. Give us a follow on Twitter. We, post fun stuff, highlights, random articles that we write. So yeah, be sure to go check that out. For me, for Alex, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.